I think that, A, you need to watch a lot of movies, read about movies, read scripts, write what you know. I think it's important. I mean, I would not have been able to direct if I didn't write my own script. And I wrote well, Best Man was my 6th screenplay. And that doesn't include the numerous drafts of those screenplays. It takes a while. And I happened to write the right script at the right time. Had Waiting to Exhale and Soul Food not preceded Best Man, it may not have gotten made.
Hi everybody, this is Monica Peters, and you're now watching Reelblack. And today we are honored to have our very special guest, director Malcolm D. Lee, with us today. What brings you to Philadelphia?
I'm here to screen my little scene film, Soul Men.
Soul Men.
Much hype, but little scene.
Okay.
Soul Men. And to talk about it and talk about my film career thus far to the film students here, and was invited by Drexel University, and I'm happy to be here.
30 years ago, Floyd Henderson was part of music history.
VH1 is putting together a tribute at the Apollo.
The real deal is back.
Now, there's only one thing standing in the way of a comeback. His former partner.
Soul Men starred Samuel L. Jackson, Isaac Hayes, and Bernie Mac, the latter two who passed away. How did it personally affect you when you heard about them passing one day apart from each other?
Well, you know, honestly, it was a very surreal kind of feeling. I wasn't completely taken aback and thrown off by it because, you know, neither one of them were in the best of health, though it never impeded them from doing great work. You know, Isaac 2 years ago suffered from a stroke.
Yes.
And Bernie had always, for a number of years, suffered from sarcoidosis.
Yes.
And he had suffered from double pneumonia back in 2004, 2006, I believe, from, you know, overworking. And that doesn't surprise because Bernie had a strong work ethic.
Yes, he did.
So when they passed, you know, it's never easy to hear those words that he's gone. But, you know, somebody told me that you know, that means that there's angels watching over me or watching over the movie. Right. I don't know if that's true or not, but, you know, certainly they were two giants. But it was a tough movie to make, you know. Sam and Bernie had been attached to the project from the very beginning, before I got onto the project. So they had a very clear idea of what they wanted to do and how they wanted to do it.
Well, I guess you don't give a fuck about the money then, huh? What money? It's a funeral. Don't nobody get paid to sing at no damn funeral. How much? 40 grand. A piece? On down the middle. No. That ain't even enough. The fuck you mean that's not enough, man? I got a lifestyle to maintain here. What kind of lifestyle, man, you filthy motherfucker? You got a pantry full of dog food, but I don't see no dog. Dog under the bed, nigga. You lucky he didn't attack your ass when you came in.
So, you know, pretty much I called action to kind of stay out of the way. You know, how you pass the ball to Michael Jordan and just get out the way.
Yeah.
Action and cut, that was pretty much my job. But, you know, when you got the two guys like that, that's what you really kind of need to do.
Now, in Soul Men, you also worked with honorary Philadelphian John Legend. What was it like working with John?
John was great. You know, we cast him because I really wanted to have somebody who was a throwback to that kind of soul music. So we wanted to have somebody like that who was charismatic and be like the embodiment of, let's say, like Otis Redding, you know, before he passed. Or if Otis Redding lived, what would his career have been like? So we got to dress him up in a lot of different costumes, a lot of different wigs and facial hair, and he was game for all of it. You know, it was like, you know, we took him through a Marvin Gaye era, through a Prince era, through a Cameo era. It was really cool to work with him, and he was great, and also a fellow Philadelphian who did the score, and that's Stanley Clark. And this is our fourth collaboration. And Stanley was the perfect choice to do this movie.
Your first film, The Best Man, you worked with your cousin, director Spike Lee. Will you guys ever work together again in the future on a project?
I imagine we will. You know, we just got to find the right thing for him to produce and me to direct. I don't think it'll be the other way around. He gave me my start in this business, both behind the camera and like even before I was, you know, making movies on my own. Like, you know, he gave me a job. So I'd love to work with him again, and it was a great experience working with him on Best Man. Because, you know, the best thing about Spike is he lets the director, as a producer, he lets the director direct. He's like, you know what? He came to me the first day of the shoot, gave me a pound, and was like, all right, later.
Really?
And I didn't see him again.
Does he ever go Hollywood on you? Malcolm, I'm too busy. I can't take your call. Touchy Cushy?
No.
Does Spike ever not return your calls?
No. He always returns my calls. Always. Text me, call me, emails, all of that. He just doesn't respond immediately. No, sometimes he does. Most of the time he does.
Okay.
It's only if I'm saying, can I get some Nick tickets? Or inauguration tickets. Then I don't hear from him for weeks.
Now, as far as your casting, Malcolm, I noticed that you have a niche for putting together entertaining comedy ensembles. What's your formula for making sure that every actor who's in your film gets a part to get a good laugh?
I gravitate towards material, like scripts that have that, or I write them myself. I love ensemble movies. I love working with actors. I like to give each actor or character their moment, you know, or two. I think that's what attracts an actor to a role. You know, so that it's media that they can sink their teeth into it. Otherwise, you know, it's like, you know, they could do 1,000 other things. So you gotta attract them with something that's you know, got some heart and some balls. You know,
we're in a difficult economic climate right now. A lot of African American films feel the brunt of that on opening day. What do you think can be done to get more people out to see and support African American films?
I think that there's a glut of movies. There's too many movies being released every week. I was doing my voting for WGA and DGA, and I looked at the list, and there were over 450 films that came out last year. There's only 52 weeks in a year. So, you know, movies don't have a chance to build an audience and to grow. And there are some things that African Americans don't want to see. You know, like movies like The Express, about the first Black Heisman Trophy winner. That didn't do anything. Nobody saw it. Not black, not white, nobody. Secret Life of Bees did very well, but I think by and large that movie was seen by the art house crowd, the independent film crowd. I don't think it was a largely African American crowd. It might be, but I don't get that sense. I think that if fewer movies would be good. I think that better quality, but at the same time, it's like people are going to see what they want to see. You know, the film industry is driven mostly by youth ticket buying, and if they don't see themselves, you know, as having an interest in a movie, they're not going to bother. You know, if it's period, or if it's older, or perceived as older, or perceived as too serious, it's like, whatever. Right. You know, I'll catch it on cable. Soul Men, you kind of like, Bernie and Sam is a great combination. Like, you know, like, wow, like I thought, you know, my 38-year-old brain was like, hey, that's a winner. Right. But it's not that simple. There's so many different things that, you know, that are forms of entertainment now. The internet and video games and however many cable channels there are. So, you know, to get people to come out of their house on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, when they have a lot of other choices to do in sports and whatever, you know, it's like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to, like, how do you get more people in, you know, like a lot of it has to do with release date. A lot of it has to do with, you know, targeting a specific audience, and, you know, how you present a movie to audiences and what their perception of it is. You can't just market it one way, and you know, that runs into money also. It's an expensive prospect.
As much as I hate to ask, in the African American community, do you think a lot of that may have to do with the fact that bootleg may be preferred to going to the movies?
I think bootlegging disproportionately hurts African American movies because, you know, although there are much more sophisticated ways of pirating movies these days, like, you know, clean, pristine copies that are streamed off the internet. There's also people that are filming it right on the screen, and they all and we're the ones buying it, you know. And I get it in these economic times. It's like, you know, a family of 5, that's an expensive outing. But yeah, I do think it disproportionately hurts African American movies. You know, a movie like, you know, Batman, you know, is going to get bootleg, you know, up the wazoo also, but they're not going to be as hurt because everybody's still going to go see it because that's the movie you want to see on the big screen. Absolutely. On IMAX. Same with Iron Man, stuff like that. you're not necessarily going. I mean, and yes, TVs are getting bigger and sound systems are getting better at home. So yeah, that's why the industry is not making those middle of the ground movies. They're the middle budget movies, and then when I say middle budget, I'm talking anywhere from $30 to $90 million. Those movies are not as plentiful. They're not being made as much. Hollywood would rather gamble on a movie that costs $100 to $200 million that they know everybody is a 4-quadrant movie, and or spend money on an Oscar thing that's like 30 and below, or most times 20 and below. I think there's a lot more choices right now for all kinds of film goers. So I think if you're gonna start making movies right now, you're gonna have to find a unique storytelling style, or at least a unique story to tell, because there's a lot of stories out there, and a lot of stuff that's run of the mill, a lot of stuff that we've seen before. Some of the stuff that we've seen before works, but it's always great to see some new spin on an old concept. So I would say they have to think outside the box, as it will. Let your own creativity take over.
Malcolm, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us here.
My pleasure. No bootlegs.
No
people.
bootlegs.